Hey everyone, so in this video, I take 3 ideas from my Discord server members and I turn it into one game. This is probably the first video I'll hopefully make this into a series, so stay tuned for the next episodes after this. So the first idea is from Dido. He makes some really cool stuff in my Discord server in Blender. He says, some core features I would suggest are bosses with attack patterns. So this is pretty boring on its own, but I've got some ideas, or well, I'm gonna use some of the other ideas to hopefully spice it up a bit. Alright, so the next idea is from Bar Owner. He's an admin in my Discord server. He runs a bar there, if you want to join. So he says, an enemy that changes models every time you kill it. So I'm most likely going to be combining this with the first idea to create a boss that changes its model every time you kill it. So that's our enemy. To kill our enemy, our boss, we're going to have a gun that shoots exploding bananas from Loki. So thank you to Dido, Bar Owner, and Loki, and I'll get on with the coding. So the first idea I coded was the boss attacks. So I started with a module script in replicated storage, and this was just going to manage creating the boss attacks on the ground. So it creates the part, it sets the transparency, and all this. And I made I just got a free model from the toolbox as a boss model, just temporarily. And then I set up just a testing script inside this model, which tested the module. So you can see I'm actually struggling quite a bit. I'm not really sure what's happening. I can't really remember. But I think the main errors I'm having is getting the boss attack to register the player being hit by it. So I was trying to use a function called getTouchingParts, but it doesn't actually work on parts that have CanCollide off. And I wanted these boss attacks to have CanCollide off, otherwise the player could step on them and it would cause all sorts of problems. But eventually I get it to work. I use a function called, or a feature called region 3. You'll see later on that this doesn't actually work perfectly, but for now I stick with region 3 as my method of just like seeing if the player gets hit. So yeah, here you go, region 3. Yeah, just a time lapse of me making some errors, going back, fixing them. Most of my code normally is like this. It's pretty messy. I'm just, going back and forth between Google and Roblox Studio, trying to find out why it's not working. Here I run into another error, where I just instantly die, even though it's only doing 20 damage to me. And this is because my player has like 10 different parts inside the region 3. So my legs are in the region 3, my arms are in the region 3, my head's in the region 3. So more than 5 parts are in the region 3, which means it deals damage to me 5 times. And 5 times 20 is 100. So I was instantly dying. But eventually I get there, and you can see this attack, it does 20 damage to me, even if I jump, and yeah. It took a total of 55 minutes and 44 seconds to code this part of the project. So I thought this part of the project would probably be the easiest, because all it is just calling this module script over and over, and maybe making a few different attacks, calling them in a pattern, or calling them randomly, and yeah, then that'd be it. And in the end, it actually was quite easy, but it just took a really long time for some reason. I also create some issues for later on, which I have to spend even longer fixing then. So here I'm just creating 3 attacks, attack 1, attack 2, and attack 3. They're all different. One of them's like an attack that starts small and gets bigger. One of them's like lots of little squares, and then one of them's just a normal square, which I end up changing later on to a bunch of strips on the ground. So to start here, I make the attack random, and it also happens every few seconds, which is also random. So the time between attacks is random, so it goes from 0 to 5. I change this later on so that it's an actual pattern. So it'll start with attack 1, then go to attack 2, and then maybe attack 3 twice, then go back to attack 1, then do attack 3 again, back to attack 2. So, yeah, I'm just going through, sort of polishing everything up. At one point, I realized that I actually, one of my attacks is really just boring, so I end up changing that. I added a rotation thing so that I can actually change the rotation of my attacks, and yeah, it just makes it a bit more dynamic. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this yet, but I actually took inspiration from Dungeon Quest for these boss attacks. If you've played Dungeon Quest before, it looks very similar. But yeah, finish that, and I can finally do my first playthrough. So you can see, there you go, all my attacks are firing. And you'll notice here that I'm focusing on dodging all these attacks. And that's a big problem, because later on, you'll realize that these attacks actually don't damage me. And I hadn't realized that until, well, later on, when I was testing the game properly. So yeah, that's probably where I messed up the biggest in this project. You see, I don't get hit once, and I think it's just because I'm like amazing at dodging. But really, it's because I'm trash at coding. Yeah. This part of the project took 40 minutes and 56 seconds. Now, I finally move on to the second idea, which is the enemy's changing model every time it dies. So to start, I'm just getting a bunch of different models to put in. I set up a variable inside the script I made previously, which makes the attacks change, the attack color change based on the model. So I'm just getting 3 models in here. I've got a lava one, a green overseer one, and that purple one from last time. And then I'm making a service script in service script service, which basically just waits for the humanoid to die and then puts a new boss into the workspace. So already I'm having trouble with registering hits, and this becomes more apparent later on, and it's a problem with region 3, and we'll get to that. So I put in this simulator map, and when I press play, I finally realize that it's not working. And this is because region 3, by default, has a limit on how many parts it can detect with the function get parts in region 3. And by default, this is set to 20, but I fixed this by manually changing the maximum parts to math.huge, which is just a big number. So that fixes it temporarily, but then there's still an issue with my strips that I made, the rotated parts. And this is because rotating a part is possible, but rotating a region 3 is not possible. So to fix this, I need to go back to my function from before, which was get touching parts. And once again, I have the problem of get touching parts not working on parts that have can glide off. But luckily, I come across this really useful post, which basically just lets it so that parts with can glide off can use the function get touching parts. So thank you to Build Thomas and this dev forum post, I managed to get it to work. So loading into the game, we've got a map now and all these parts spawning. Once my immunity shield goes away, you can see it deal damage to me. So every attack actually can deal damage to me. This big one can deal damage to me. These strips can deal damage to me. You'll notice here that if you jump, then you can actually avoid the attack. So I could script a workaround to this. It would take a few minutes, but since I'm lazy, I just sort of press stop, and I think what I do is I go through the scripts, I think about scripting a solution to it, then I'm like, nah, I'm too lazy. So I go into start a player, and I just scroll down to jump power, and I set it to 0. So the character can no longer jump, easy fix, and yeah, this idea is finished. It took around 44 minutes and 45 seconds to code. Now for the final idea, banana gun. So once again, because I'm lazy, I opened up my fireball place, my fireball tutorial, and I basically just steal the fireball script. And all I need to do is like change a few values, change the model to a banana, and I was thinking in my head I'm gonna weld a gun to the player, but in the end I forget to do that, so it's not really a banana gun in the end, it's just like a banana hand shooter. I don't know, bananas spawning out of your hand. But anyway, what I try to do here is make the banana go in an arc. I'm trying to make the banana like shoot in the air, so it's like more skill based to try and hit your shots. But yeah, I struggle for this. I struggle at this for a long time. I'm playing around with C-frame angles. I'm really bad at C-frames. I try to use the different look vectors, up vector, right vector. I try all these different things. I try having 2 body velocities, but in the end, I decide to just make the banana shoot in a straight line, and I'm happy with that. So I finish just by making a leader stats, where you get damage added to your leaderboard whenever you deal damage to the boss, just as a sort of measure of your banana shooting abilities. And I'm finished. So this part took a total of 42 minutes and 50 seconds. Now, I used the website to calculate the total time, and that comes out to 3 hours, 4 minutes, and 15 seconds. So not bad for a almost complete game. So something we found out from this group test is that you can actually kill each other. So these bananas, if they explode in a player's face, they'll die too. So it also one-shots because I made the banana do 500 damage, and it makes for a an interesting experience. You can see in the background here everyone blowing each other up. If you time it right, you can make the player's arm blow up and nothing else, so they'll be armless. Yeah, you can see everything's working as intended apart from that oversight with the PvP. I got 3 people to join my game to test. That was cool. Shout out to these people. If you want to be part of these videos, whether it's testing it or having your idea featured, then just join the Discord server. The link's in the description. If you have a good idea, then it'll probably be chosen. I'm hoping to make more episodes of this sort of series of Discord makes a Roblox game. So yeah, more ideas is definitely appreciated. If you're active, then you'll be able to make it into these games pretty easily, because as you can see, it's pretty empty. But yeah, if this was entertaining or educational in any way, then I'd appreciate a like, a sub. Helps keep me motivated to make more videos just like this one. And until next time, see ya!